Good morning, dear students. So, after the completion of alkane, let us start another hydrocarbon, that is alkene. So, today here we are going to study about alkenes. So, what are alkenes? Alkenes are the unsaturated hydrocarbon which contain at least one carbon-carbon double bond. Okay. So, the unsaturated hydrocarbons unsaturated hydrocarbons which contain at least one carbon-carbon double bond that are known as alkenes. What is the general formula? So, general formula for alkene is CnH2n. And how these are made? After the word root ALKR, instead of ANE, the word root ENE is substituted. In this way, it gives rise to alkene. If more number of double bonds are present, then what we have to write? Before this primary suffix, we have to write di, tri, tetra, etc. So before the primary suffix, we have to add an extra a should be added before the primary suffix. In this way, you have to name. Already you know how to name this compound. Next, what is the type of hybridization in alkene? In the hybridization, the carbon atom containing double bond on the carbon atom having this double bond undergo sp2 hybridization. That is sp2 hybridized. Okay, so the carbon atom containing double bond is sp2 hybridization. In this way, this is planar in nature. Okay, next come to what is the isomerism? What type of isomerism exhibited by these alkenes? So isomerism in alkenes. Isomerism in alkenes. So alkenes exhibit structural isomerism as well as stereoisomerism. So in structural isomerism, alkenes exhibit, that is chain isomerism. So if it contains more number of carbon atoms, it is more than 4 number of carbon atoms, then it can exhibit chain isomerism. So alkenes exhibit chain isomerism. For example, CH3, CH2, CH double bond CH2. This is known as your but1ene. And if we one alkyl group shifted from here to here, it gives rise to another CH3, CH double CH3C, and here CH3C and CH2. Both have the same formula, that is C3H8. Look here, so C4H8. Both have the same formula, C4H8. But this is but1ene and this one 2-methyl propane. 2-methyl propane. So in this way, alkene exhibit chain isomerism. Another, it can also exhibit position isomerism. Chain isomerism, another position isomerism. Look here, which contain more than 4 carbon atoms. Here also 4 carbon atoms. Here also it contain more then 4 carbon atom, then it can exhibit position isomerism. CH3, CH2, CH2, sorry, this is CH, double bond, CH2, this is but, 1, ENE, and another CH3, CH, double bond, CH, CH3, that is but 2, ENE. So these two are position isomer of each other. Alkenes exhibit here chain isomerism, and these two are chain isomer of each other, and it exhibit position isomerism. These two are position isomer of each other. Another type of isomerism also there, that is called ring chain isomerism. Ring chain isomerism. So alkenes exhibit the same molecular formula which comes to more compounds that are known as isomers. So alkenes exhibit a ring and chain. With the same formula, we can write one straight chain compound as well as cyclic compound. This look here, suppose I write about C3H6. This can represent as CH3, CH double bond, CH2. This one is propene. And we can also write this from this formula. We can also write CH2. This is known as cyclopropane. Cyclopropane. So these two are ring chain isomerism of each other. This is the ring chain compound. This is the straight chain compound. This is the ring compound. Or this is the cyclic compound, this is the acyclic compound, in this way with the same formula. Similarly, for butene we can write CH3, CH2, CH, double bond CH2, that is but 1, ENE, and can also represented as CH2, 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 CH2 in this way. These are known as cyclobutane. So these two are also a ring chain isomer of each other. This is the straight chain compound, this is the ring compound. This is the straight chain compound, this is the ring compound. So in this way it exhibits this type of structural isomerism. That is chain isomerism, position isomerism, and ring chain isomerism. Next come to geometrical isomerism in alkenes. So what is geometrical isomerism? Geometrical isomerism is one type of stereoisomerism. So what is stereoisomerism? So when the same molecular formula represents two compounds which have same structure but the arrangement of atoms or groups in the space is different, then that is known as your stereoisomers, and that this phenomenon is known as stereoisomerism. And this stereoisomerism is of different types, that is geometrical isomerism, optical isomerism, and configurational isomerism. So here we have to discuss what is the geometrical isomerism. Actually, these have the same word group, same functional group, they have the same chain, only the arrangement of atoms and groups in space is different. That means if one is attached in this way, another attached in this way, another attached in this way, then the space, if the arrangement is different, then that gives rise to, that is your geometric, that is your stereoisomerism. And geometrical isomerism is one of the stereoisomerism. What is geometrical isomerism? When the same molecular formula represents two compounds which are differ in the arrangement of atoms and groups around the carbon-carbon double bond, or in some cases carbon-nitrogen double bond, then that is called geometrical isomers. And this phenomenon is known as geometrical isomerism. Look here, suppose I write the formula. Look here, suppose I write the formula of but2ene. But2ene. Then simply you can write CH3, CH, double bond CH, and CH3. That is but2ene. But you know this double bond is double bonded very carbon. These two are sp2 hybridized. As these are sp2 hybridized, these are planar in nature. If the similar groups are present at one plane, then that gives another isomer. If similar groups are present at different plane, then they give rise to another isomer. So to this but 2ene, I can write in two ways. Look here. One is C double bond C. Suppose this is planar in one plane, and in the above this plane I have kept two methyl group and two hydrogens are in this way. So this is also but 2ene, and another C double bond C. In the above the plane, one methyl group, one hydrogen is there, and here one hydrogen and here one methyl. So this is but 2ene. This is the but 2ene. They have the same structure formula, but here the two methyl groups are present above the plane, while two hydrogens are present below the plane. And here two methyl groups are present, one above the plane, one below the plane. And here two hydrogen are also one above the plane and one below the plane. In this way, these two are now, so in the space this arrangement is different. So these two are known as geometrical isomer of each other. And when the two similar groups are present at one side, that is known as your cis isomer. So this is known as cis isomer. And when two similar groups are present at different plane, one above the plane and one below the plane, this is known as your trans isomer. So this is known as trans isomer, where similar groups are present at one plane, that is known as cis isomer. So this is we can say that it's cis but 2ene, and this is written as trans but 2ene. Similarly, if you write in this way, you can also write. Suppose this is arranged in this way. This is one chlorine, hydrogen, and another written here C double bond C, and here chlorine, here hydrogen, and here hydrogen. So this is the plane. Okay, this the double bond represents the plane, and these two chlorine atoms are present at one plane, and two hydrogen atoms are present at another plane. But here two chlorine atoms are present above the plane and below the plane, and two hydrogen atoms are present above the plane and below the plane. In this way, this is what 1,2-dichloroethane, and this is also 1,2-dichloroethane. But this form is known as the cis form, and this is known as trans form. So this is cis 1,2 dichloroethane, and this one trans 1,2-dichloroethane. Trans 1,2-dichloroethane. Okay, so in this way we have to name it. Next, what is the condition for this geometrical isomer? So the condition for geometrical isomer is that there should be at least one carbon-carbon double bond, and another two similar groups or atoms should not attach to the same double bonded carbon atom. Look here, this is but 2ene, but with this formula, if I can write CH3, C double bond CH. In this way, it has also the same formula C4H8. Okay, so this represents what? Actually 1, 2, 3. That is actually 2-methyl propene. So the 2-methyl propene, this does not form any geometrical isomer. So no geometrical isomer. I think now clear. So no geometrical isomer. Okay, this is cis form and this is trans form. if four different groups and atoms are present with the double bonded carbon atom, then that is instead of assigning cis and trans form, these are known as E and Z isomer. So first write down what is geometrical isomer, what are the conditions, then we will discuss what is E and Z isomer. So write down what is geometrical isomerism. So when the same molecular formula represents two compounds which differ in the arrangement of atoms or groups in space around the carbon-carbon double bond is known as geometrical isomers, and this phenomenon is known as geometrical isomerism. And for geometrical isomerism, what are the conditions? So when these two similar groups are present at the same side of double bond, that is known as that is the same plane, same side of the double bond, the same plane, that is known as cis isomer. And when two different groups are present, two similar groups are present at opposite planes or at different planes of the double bond, at both sides of the double bond or opposite of the double bond or different plane of the double bond, then that is known as trans isomer. So cis isomer, this is in the different plane. In different plane, these two present, and cis isomer they are present in the same plane. Okay, so complete the condition for geometrical isomerism. There should be at least one carbon-carbon double bond, and the double bonded carbon atom that should contain two different groups. So the atoms or groups which is attached to the double bonded carbon atom, that two are different. Okay, so note down these points. And there are some examples. There is the cis-but-2-ene, trans-but-2-ene, cis-1,2-dichloroethene, trans-1,2-dichloroethene. Next, what is the characteristics of this cis and trans isomer? So between the cis and trans isomer, the cis isomer has generally higher dipole moment than that of the trans isomer. Look here. So this is suppose 1,2-dichloroethene. This is 1,2-dichloroethene. So here dipole moment created by one side, here dipole moment created, and the resultant dipole moment in this side. But this is opposite to each other. In this dipole moment created one side is cancelled by another side. So here you can see the dipole moment is 0, but here it has a resultant dipole moment. As it has a resultant dipole moment, it is more polar. The cis isomer is more polar than trans isomer. And the cis is more polar than trans isomer. So more polar means the molecule come closer each other. As a result, the cis isomer has higher boiling point than that of trans isomer. The cis isomer has higher, the boiling point of cis isomer higher than that of trans isomer, because cis isomers are more polar. But when we consider all the melting point, that means in solid state, when these molecules are arranged closely packed, that means the trans isomers are more symmetrical in structure than that of cis isomer. So due to more symmetrical structure that can arrange in a crystal lattice more well, it has more compact size, more closely they can arrange. In this way, the trans isomer has higher melting point than that of cis isomer. So trans have higher melting point, cis have higher boiling point, more polar and higher dipole moment. Okay, so note down these points. Next come to another type of geometrical isomerism. So if four different groups are attached to the double bonded carbon atom, then there is no similar groups, no similar atoms. If four different atoms or groups are attached to all these carbon atoms, then how to assign them? So for that, the cis and trans is generally not mentioned for them. For them, another type of name, that is E and Z. For example, if there is presence of C11C, look here, fluorine, bromine, iodine are there, and another C11C. So here suppose fluorine and bromine and iodine are there. Then how to name these? So for that part, another rule given by Ingold and Krylov, given by Ingold and Krylov, IP rule, you can say Ingold and Krylov rule. Another way rule, these are assigned two isomer. One is known as E isomer and another known as Z isomer. So all these are determined according to priority order. Priority order. If higher priority are same side of double bond, if higher priorities groups are at the same side of double bond, same side of double bond, known as, this is known as Z isomer. And if the higher priorities are, and if the higher priorities are groups are at opposite side, then it is called E isomer. And how to determine this priority order? This priority order is not according to functional group. This is according to the atomic number of the carbon atom, atomic number of the atoms or groups to which the carbons are attached. So higher atomic number means higher priority. Okay, so priority order according to atomic number. For example, look at fluorine, bromine, iodine. In fluorine, the chlorine has higher priority than fluorine. So this has priority 1, priority 2. And between iodine, bromine, this has priority 1 and priority 2. And here fluorine, this fluorine has priority 1, this has priority 2. And with bromine, iodine, it has priority 1, it has priority 2. So here the higher priority order are at opposite side of the double bond. In this way, this is known as the opposite, this is E isomer. So this is E isomer. And this one higher priority at the same side of the double bond. This is known as Z isomer. In this way. And first atomic number, if the first atoms are same, then we have to consider about the second. If the second is also same, then you have to consider the third. In this way, the priority orders are mentioned. Look here, suppose in this way given C double bond C, this is given CH2, CH3, and here given CH3, and here given chlorine, and here given that is fluorine. So how to determine its cis and trans isomer? So in this case, between fluorine, carbon is there, fluorine is there. Between carbon and fluorine, suppose instead of between carbon, instead of this, it is given this CHO, not this carbon, so it is given CHO. Look here. So the first is carbon, then hydrogen is attached to hydrogen, and here this is carbon, it is attached to hydrogen and carbon. So if you consider between this and carbon and chlorine has higher atomic number. In this case, it has priority 1, it has priority 2. And similarly, if you consider between CH2, CH3 and CHO, so here carbon is attached to hydrogen, carbon, and here carbon is attached to, if you write CH, double bond O is there, it is attached to carbon, and if one oxygen bonded by two bond with oxygen, it is considered that it is attached to hydrogen, oxygen. It is considered it is attached to carbon is attached to hydrogen, oxygen, oxygen, and here it is considered this carbon is attached to carbon, hydrogen, hydrogen. This carbon is attached to hydrogen, hydrogen, carbon. So hydrogen, hydrogen, carbon, and it is attached to hydrogen, oxygen, oxygen. As oxygen has a higher atomic number than this, in this has higher priority and this has lower priority. So the higher priority at the same side of the double bond, at the same side of the double bond, this is known as your Z isomer. So in this same E and Z isomer is considered. So to the similar groups are present, then for that you cannot tell them that are cis and trans isomer. But the cis and trans isomer can be named as E and Z isomer, but all the E and Z isomers are not named as cis and trans one. Okay, so note down these points. Next come to methods of preparation of alkene. So alkene generally prepared by elimination reaction. So first D means removal. Dehydrohalogenation. Dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halides. So when an alkyl halide treated with or heated with alcoholic solution of potassium hydroxide, then one hydrogen and one halogen are eliminated. This beta elimination takes place to form an alkene. Okay, so for this it requires minimum 2 carbon atom. Look here. So C, double bond C. Suppose hydrogen is there, hydrogen is instead of single bond. Look here, this is H and here Cl, H is there, and it is treated with potassium hydroxide in alcoholic solution. For that I have to write here A and C. So when this is heated, then what happens? Here hydrogen, one halogen atom and one hydrogen. This way it is written dehydro and halogenation. One hydrogen and one halogen is removed here. So one hydrogen and one halogen is removed here, and it gives and new bond here and here. So due to elimination, one electron from here and one electron from here comes and it forms a bond. So it forms HC double bond CH and H here H. This is ethene and this is ethyl chloride. Ethyl chloride. So when ethyl chloride heated with alcoholic solution of potassium hydroxide, it gives ethene. Similarly, if I take propene, CH3, C, here H and here H and C, this is Cl, here H and here H is there, that is propyl chloride. Propyl chloride when heated with potassium hydroxide, alcoholic solution of potassium hydroxide, then what happens? Removal of this hydrogen and halogen takes place and new bond is formed. It forms CH3, here this is CH and double bond, or that we can write CH2. This is propane. And what is the side product here? Look at HCl, this is an acid, and KOH, this is a base. Acid and base react to form salt and water. In this way, it forms potassium chloride and water. Here also potassium chloride and water. Okay. So note down this. When an alkyl halide heated with alcoholic solution of potassium hydroxide, it forms an alkene. For example, ethyl chloride heated with alcoholic KOH to form ethene. Propyl chloride heated with alcoholic KOH to form propane. Next, suppose it is given that is 2-bromobutane. So when 2-bromobutane heated with alcoholic KOH, then what will happen? Here also dehydrohalonization takes place. It also form an alkene, but there are two possibilities. Look here, one bromine will be removed here, and from the adjacent carbon atom, hydrogen will be removed, and it form a double bond. So there are two chances. One hydrogen can be removed here, and another hydrogen can be removed here. If hydrogen removed here, then then the double bond will appear here, and if hydrogen is removed here, then double bond appear here. So two possibilities are there. So one is it may form, that is CH3CH double bond CH3, or it may form CH2 CH double bond CH2. So actually if these two cases are there, then actually the product is this one. This one the major product. 80% of this will be formed, and 20% or about 20% of this will be formed. So this one is the major product, and this one the minor product. So this will form very less amount, that is about 20%. This is about 80%. So this is known as but2ene, and this is but1ene. So when in the elimination reaction, the hydrogen will be removed from that which is more alkylated. Look here, the hydrogen, no alkyl group is attached, but to this hydrogen, one alkyl group is there. So which is more alkylated, hydrogen will be removed from that. And this rule is called Sergev rule. This rule is called Sergev rule. So note down this Sergev rule. So in the dehydrohalonization process, hydrogen will be eliminated. Okay, halogen will be eliminated, and hydrogen will be eliminated or removed from that carbon which is more alkylated or contain less number of hydrogen. More alkylated or contain less number of hydrogen. So this rule is called Sergev's rule. So this is, look here, less number of hydrogen or more alkylated. So from here hydrogen will be removed. So this product will be formed according to Sergev's rule. Okay, and this is actually due to the stability of carbocation that we'll discuss later. Next, come to another method, preparation from vicinal dihalides. So vicinal dihalide means when two halogen atoms are present at adjacent positions. This is 1, 2, 2, 3 in like positions. Then that are known as vicinal dihalides. So when a vicinal dihalide heated with zinc dust, then it forms an alkane. Okay. So for example, CH2Br and CH2Br. It is 1,2-dibromoethane. When heated with zinc dust, then here these two bromines are eliminated, and for reaction with zinc to form ZnBr2, and a bond is formed here. So it will give CH2 plus ZnBr2, that is ethene. Similarly, if there is CH3, CHBr, CH2Br, 1,2-dibromopropanol heated with zinc dust, then elimination of this bromine takes place. So this form CH3CH double bond CH2, that is propene plus ZnBr2. So this process is dehalogenation process. Dehalogenation. First one, dehydrohalogenation, and this dehalogenation process. Okay. So when vicinal dihalide heated with zinc dust, it forms an alkene. So it forms an alkene. Okay. Next, another process that is from alcohols by dehydration process. First one, dehydrohalogenation, one hydrogen and halogen removed from alkyl halide. Second one, dehalogen process, two halogens are removed from adjacent carbon atoms. And here, dehydration process, that means removal of water. So water is removed. So one hydrogen atom from one carbon atom and OH group from another carbon atom. So OH group from one carbon atom and hydrogen from another carbon atom. In this way, the removal of water takes place and it forms an alkene. So when an alcohol heated with various dehydrating agents such as Al2O3, aluminum oxide, or in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid, it forms an alkene. So, alcohols are different types, that is primary, secondary and tertiary. So, the reactivity of different alcohol is, the tertiary is more reactive for this elimination than secondary, than primary. In case of alkyl halide also, the dehydrohalogenation process, the tertiary alkyl halide are more reactive than secondary, than tertiary, than primary. Okay, so primary alcohols. So, when an alcohol heated with when an alcohol heated with aluminum oxide at 620 Kelvin or concentrated sulfuric acid at 443 Kelvin, it forms an alkene by removal of water. Okay. Look here. CH2 to this ethanol, I can write. So CH3 to this CH3 here and one hydrogen here. CH2 and CH2OH. This is ethanol. When heated with Al2O3 at 620 Kelvin or 623 Kelvin, then removal of the hydrogen and one OH here takes place. It forms CH2. It forms ethene. Similarly, plus water and these water molecules are absorbed by this Al2O3. Similarly, CH2H and CH2OH. This is ethanol. When heated with concentrated sulfuric acid at 443 Kelvin, one hydrogen and one OH group will be removed and it forms CH. So here it forms CH2 double bond CH2. It forms ethene. And these water molecules are absorbed by sulfuric acid. Okay. Similarly, if this is isopropyl alcohol, CH, and here OH group is there and CH3 is there, and heated with concentrated sulfuric acid, temperature below 443 Kelvin is also possible. because the reactivity of tertiary and secondary alcohol is more than that of primary alcohol. Okay, so here OH and either side same alkyl groups in this side and in this side also. So one OH from here and one H from here will be removed, and as one H will remove, it forms CH2 and then double bond is formed here. So it gives CH3, CH double bond CH2. This is propene and this is isopropyl alcohol. Whether you take isopropyl alcohol, propane 1-OL or N-propyl alcohol, in both cases it gives the same propene. Look here. Suppose CH3, CH2, CH2OH is there. Then heated with concentrated sulfuric acid at 443 Kelvin. So OH from here and H from here. So in this way it gives CH3, CH double bond CH2. This is N-propyl alcohol. N-propyl alcohol, and this is propane. In both cases, the same product will be formed, whether you take isopropyl alcohol or N-propyl alcohol. So note down this. So if we take, that is butan 2-OL, then two cases are there for elimination. Look here, OH from here, and hydrogen may eliminated from here. In this case, both two cases are there. Here also, this elimination also follows the Serge rule. Here the elimination also follows the Serge rule, as that for dehydrohalogenation process. So here the major product is hydrogen will be removed from that which is more alkylated. So the major product is here CH3, CH double bond CH, CH3. This is the major product. This is the major product. Okay, so but 2-ANE plus another CH3, CH2, CH double bond CH2, that is but 1-ANE. This is the minor product. Okay, this is the minor product and this is the major product. Okay, but if look here, CH3, CH3, CH3OH. This is known as a tert butyl alcohol. This is the common name. So when it is heated with concentrated sulfuric acid, it requires low temperature than this. It gives rise to OH from here and another hydrogen from any carbon atom, all are the same. In this way it gives CH3, CH3 double bond CH2. That is 2-methyl 2-methyl propane, and this is tert butyl alcohol. Okay, so note down this. Okay, the reactivity of different alcohol is towards dehydration process is tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. So note down this. Next, another method is by Coles electrolytic method. In Coles electrolytic method, both alkane, so all the alkane, all the hydrocarbon, that is alkane, alkene, alkyne, all can be prepared. But when you take the saturated monocarboxylic acid, sodium or potassium salt of monocarboxylic acid, it gives alkane. But if we take the saturated solution of sodium or potassium salt of dicarboxylic acid, then it gives alkene. Similarly, if we take unsaturated, then it gives alkyne. That we will discuss later. So when sodium or potassium salt of saturated dicarboxylic acid undergo electrolysis, it forms an alkene. For example, when sodium succinate, potassium succinate undergo electrolysis, it forms ethene. Okay. So when sodium or salt of saturated dicarboxylic acid of saturated dicarboxylic acid undergo electrolysis, it forms an alkane. For example, when potassium succinate undergo electrolysis, it forms ethane. Look here, CH2COOH, CH2COOH, saturated this is known as the succinic acid. So in place of hydrogen, if this is replaced by potassium, this is known as your potassium succinate. Potassium succinate, and its aqueous solution when undergo electrolysis or ionization, first it forms CH2CO minus CH2CO minus plus 2K plus. Then what happens at anode? At anode, CH2CO minus CH2CO minus 2 electron. So 2 electrons are removed. It gives CH2COO and CH2CO. And this is an intermediate compound. This is unstable. And from this unstable compound, what happens? Removal of this carbon dioxide takes place. Minus 2 CO2. 2 CO2 are removed here and 1 electron come here, 1 electron come here. In this way, it forms bond CH2 double bond CH2. This is called ethene. And what happens at cathode? So at cathode, between there are two ions, 2K plus are there, as well as water is there, water H plus is there. So from water, H plus electron give rise to H, and H plus H give rise to H2. So at cathode, hydrogen is liberated, and at anode, ethene is liberated. So when potassium succinate undergo electrolysis, it forms ethene. Where? At anode. It forms ethene at anode. Okay. So next, another method of preparation, that is from alkynes. So alkynes on controlled reduction, it gives an alkene. Alkynes on controlled reduction gives an alkene. So what is the also for controlled reduction? If we complete reduction, it gives alkane. So if for controlled reduction, what you have to use? So here you have to use either Lindlar's catalyst or you have to go through Birch reduction. So when an alkyne treated with hydrogen in presence of sodium and liquid ammonia, or when treated with palladium and barium sulfate, palladium in presence supported over barium sulfate, that is known as the Lindlar's catalyst, it gives an alkene. Okay, so alkynes on controlled reduction gives an alkene. So for that, the catalyst generally used is Lindlar's catalyst. That is Lindlar's catalyst. That is palladium supported over barium sulfate. And for control reduction, this would be poisoned by sulfur, a little sulfur or quinolane. Okay, so two types of products are there. So when we use Lindlar's catalyst, it forms the cis product, and when it is reduced with sodium and liquid ammonia, it forms a trans product. Okay, so when hydrogen gas is passed through alkyne in presence of palladium and barium sulfate and a little sulfur it gives an alkene. Generally, cis product is formed. Okay. Or when alkyne treated with sodium in liquid ammonia, the process is called Birch reduction. It forms an alkene, and here the product is generally trans product is formed. For example, look here. Suppose CH3, C111C, CH3 is there. That is but2YNE, and when this is treated with palladium, barium sulfate, in some cases little calcium carbonate or carbon is also used. So it gives, and a little sulfur, it gives C11C, here CH3, CH3, H. That is cis but 2ene, and when it is treated with sodium in liquid ammonia, it forms CH3, hydrogen, and here trans but 2Ne is formed. Okay. If there is no chance of cis entrance, then normal alkene is formed. If you take ethyl, then ethene will be formed. So these are some methods of preparation of alkynes. So here note down this.